throwing interceptions. They have no rhythm on offense right now. If these guys don't get it together on the
what's going on,
side
people?
of the ball, and like I say,
turn this down, watching
put that offense in the
one of my favorite channels right here, ESPN. You already know. Something about sports that makes, I don't know, it just make you go, ah. But we all know that in this world, more people would rather have this than to have this. Sports, education. Sports, education. This will lose every time over this. Not just basketball, any sport. How y'all doing? My blog for today, this is blog number 11. We getting up there. And it's entitled, Teachers Are Role Models. And in quotes, not athletes. When I was in high school, it was funny to me, right? I had a teacher that was my economics and government teacher. And this woman knew everything about economics and government, how to start your business, how to run a business, how to start it from beginning to middle to end. She knew everything. She knew about the supply and demand and how to meet the supply and demand. She, taught us a lot of that. I'm like, wow, this woman really knows something. Now, I'm almost saying to myself, like, wow, she know all this. Why is she a teacher? Why she ain't running her own little business? But, it kind of just something that I said to myself. I remember one day when I was actually leaving school late, running behind the little girls. But anyway, when I was leaving school, book bag on, walking through the campus, through the parking lot, and I saw my teacher going in her car. So I was behind her. Then I was curious to see what kind of car she was going to get in. Then I saw her get in this brown, old, beat-up Monte Carlo. And I remember seeing her get in this car and had a briefcase and had all these things in her hand, papers and stuff, trying to get into her car. And she spoke and I kept walking. And I said to myself, wow, this woman is my teacher. She's the one training me to go out in the world and be successful. But yet it's clear that she's not even successful. So I was a little confused right then, because we all know that what we consider to be successful is just basically having money. Yeah, we could decorate it all we want and say, hey, go get your degree and get your job so you can get you a good job. We can dress up all we want, but at the end of the day, we just telling people that if you want to be successful, it's based on you having money, you having a nice car, big house, being able to do whatever you want to do, and just not struggling. And that's what success was. So I said to myself that my teacher looks like she's struggling. Then I have another teacher, which was my favorite teacher, named Miss Snell. She was my English teacher. And she had her little creative way of getting our attention to show us that she was very concerned about us being successful, should I say, in life. She wanted us to make it. She wanted us to actually be smart, have wisdom, knowledge. She wanted us to really inherit that. She wasn't so much, her success was, she wanted us to have a good education. So she would make it fun for us. We would come in class and she would consider our classroom to be our home. She'd have us call her mother, mama. We didn't call her Miss Snell. We called her ma, or mother, whatever we felt like saying. She would call us her children, son, daughter. She had two entrances to her classroom. One was on the left and one was on the far right. And I remember one day the bell had just rang and I saw her standing in the hall talking to a teacher. She had a back turn. So I ran in through the right entrance. I ran in and got in my desk. And when she came in and she shut the door, she said, children, children, children. She said, when I was down on Fifth Avenue talking with our neighbor, I seen one of my sons trying to sneak in through the back door. And after the street lights were on, and she looked at me and she said, Deboyski. And that was my B-boy name back then when I was in high school. Everybody had a B-boy name. If you know what a B-boy is, Google it, look it up. But anyway, she said, Deboyski. And she knew that because I had a T-shirt that had my name on it one day, so she always would call me that. She said, why were you late, son? And I told her why. She just told me not to do it again. And like if you had your feet up on somebody's desk, somebody that was sitting in front of you, she'd tell you to get your feet off of their bed. Our desk was our bed. So she would make it fun in that aspect. But she made it perfectly clear with us that she was all about us learning. And we knew that. She was on us and on us because she was preparing us. This was my senior year. She was preparing us for the SAT. SAT was coming up. She was letting us know that it was going to be general questions, but she was also letting us know that it wasn't going to be easy, but she is going to prepare us so when we get ready to take that test, we will not have any excuse. Now, if you're like me, I'm not a person that was good on standardized tests. I could just, I would study for the moment. Like when I would get ready to take a test in class, and she said we're going to have a test on chapter so-and-so, I would study that chapter, and whatever she told us to study, I would study it, and I would probably do good on the test. But when it's a standardized test, a big test that you just have to generally prepare because you don't know what kind of questions it's going to be, sometimes I just wouldn't do good on those kind of tests because, for one, I'd be so nervous and shaking, hoping that I'm going to do well, and I just do poorly. So when it came time to take the SAT, she practiced with us all year long and taught us and gave us everything we needed. And then it was time to take the SAT. When I got to that part of it, dealing with the English part and all that, I felt like I breezed through it because she took so much time on trying to ignite something in us to let us know that, hey, that this is important, that we need to get it. So I did very well. And to this day, she is my favorite teacher. I always think about her, Miss Snell. I don't know her first name, but I can see her face just as plain as day. But then when I looked at that other teacher, my other economics and government teacher, that was teaching me pretty much a different way, but she was still teaching me excellence and showing me how, when I get out there in life, what I'm going to need. And she was teaching me, but yet I judged her because I saw the type of car she was getting in. Because in this world, it's money. It's all about money. We dress all these things up, but sometimes you just got to call a thing a thing. You got kids that want to graduate, that do graduate and can't get into college because they didn't have the grades. Then you have an athlete that didn't have the grades as well, but yet he can find a way to get into these colleges, and they'll find a way to get him extra help and everything else. He or she get them extra help so they can be a part of their athletic department at their school. But yet these other students have to fall idle because they can't get the type of support because they don't have nothing to bring to the table, because sports is clearly more important on this earth than education is. And I say that boldly, and I say it because I call a thing, and that's what it is. When you look at a teacher that's shaping the human mind, that has to deal with different students' personalities day after day, got to deal with some of these kids' parents that don't understand that the teacher is in charge of the classroom and not their child, so they got to deal with that, and not to mention they got to deal with the superintendent's office and people like that that's already dealing with them about the curriculum and why students ain't grades ain't where they need to be. They got so much they have to deal with, but yet they can make from $46,000 on down a year, depending on what state you live in. And you have these athletes that can go straight into the NBA or any other sports, NFL, and get a signing bonus. And let's say that most average player would sign for $700,000 a year. Clearly, if a teacher could get that, my God. And that's $700,000. Might not seem like no money to some people, but all I can say to that is, my God. Then you got some people that's making $4.2 million and all the way up to $10 million, some even more a year for just being excellent in this, or football, or a tennis racket, or a baseball bat, but never in this. This is the world that has been created for us. Sports has been here since the beginning of the time, when the rich man and Lazarus, when Lazarus was laying out in front of the castle, begging for food, the rich man and his brothers used to go and watch the gladiators fight to the death for their entertainment. So even ever since back then, sports, any kind of sports, has been the thing since the beginning of time. But we just confuse these kids coming up, and they think that because they see these athletes with these shoe deals, they see them with all these commercials, they got all this stuff going on, so the athletes become their role model. But they're not becoming their role model in the sense of them saying, hey, I want to be a excellent person. I want to help somebody. I want to do something to benefit people's lives. I want to see people be prosperous. They're not being role models in that aspect. They're being role models because, ooh, I seen so-and-so on MTV Cribs, or look at what they got. They got the shoe deal. They got this. I want that stuff. I wish I had that stuff. And that's what they're idolizing. They're not idolizing the person themselves. They're idolizing what this person have. They're being talked about. They're being this. They're being that. But in retrospect, all the children want is things. But the true role models are the people that give when they have nothing to give. And that's what teachers. They have nothing monetarily to give, but what they give you is something to ignite something in you to become greater, to become the greater you, not to become the greater Michael Jordan or the greater LeBron. You can't become great being somebody else. You're just a perpetrator. But these teachers, they're clearly they're working on you to become a greater you. You have to want to be the best you can be. If you're doing sports, big thumbs up to you. But you got to know that just because you're a great athlete making all the great money, you're not going to make all the great decisions in the world. Just watch that show on ESPN. I forgot what is it called, 10 for 10 or something like that, 20 for 20, whatever the show is called. Y'all know. Google it. But showed about all these athletes that had all these contracts. Some of them had $100 million contracts. Talking about how all the money they spent for their friends and family and all this stuff, and they no longer have it. Because I told y'all before on one of those blogs that money do not make you intelligent and don't give you the supernatural smartness. Because if you dumb poor, you're going to be dumb rich unless you make a decision. You make bad decisions poor, you're going to make bad decisions when you become rich. It's just no way around it. And these teachers, they work very, very hard, and they get no recognition. They get no respect. So many teachers around the world are striking all the time. When was the last time you seen an athlete get together and strike? If anything, they get locked out. When was the last time you seen athletes holding up signs talking about whatever they want to say, that they feel like they're being treated? If they getting treated fair, most of the time they just talk to the cameras and deal with it because they still got some type of good money coming in. But you talking about teachers that already ain't making nothing. Then they have to form a union and all these things just so somebody can hear their cry. And this blog today, short and sweet, straight up, wrote teachers are role models. Teachers are role models. It don't matter what they drive. It don't matter what kind of house they live in, because what they giving you cannot be purchased. It cannot be purchased. What they're giving you is something to ignite that brain in you, to give you the brilliance to go out and use that brilliance in the manner in which that you can become successful. They're not giving you education just so you can go out and get a job, a good job, so you can make money, because if that's what life is all about, we might as well stop having these big conferences and all these things that we have. But you got to understand that what you're going to school for is not to get a nice car. It's not even getting a nice job. It's to give you something that can't be repoed. They cannot repo your knowledge. They cannot foreclose on your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You can't, even in desperate times, you can't go to the pawn shop and pawn your knowledge. That's yours. That's yours. Get it while it's available to get. Get it while it's available to get. Teachers are role models. Remember that. Your boy Davyne said it. Teachers are role models. Big ups to you and all that you do. You already know my website. Holla at your boy, www.davynedancler.com. Give your teachers an apple today. Send them a message on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You know them or don't know them. Just say, hey, I appreciate you. Big ups to teachers. Love you all. Deuces.